Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. In this one, we have an interesting one for you. He's a cute little pony that gets scared when he gets harnessed up and ready for driving to where the point where he's rearing and bucking and carrying on, and it's scaring the owner, and she's not sure if he's gonna work out for driving. We're gonna see if we can give him some help in this video. I want him to choose to connect with me. Very coachable. So one thing I'm feeling just by holding on to him here is there's a little bit of an absence of his connection. He's not as connected to me holding the rope as I wanted. Mm-hmm. He's just kind of looking around at things, and like when I stopped, he kind of just kept going. Mm-hmm. Like here, he's just kind of leaving. Yeah. And so I'm gonna let him do that, and then I don't want to get you run over, but I'm gonna put a little pressure on his hindquarters there. And just go, hey, actually the attention's over here. And what can happen is it can get easy to control them. Mm-hmm. And just like I could pull on the rope and make him listen. Yeah. But I want him to choose to connect with me. So that's gonna be the first thing that I'm gonna start with. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna walk to his hindquarters and I'm gonna expect him to follow me as we go. Okay. And then he did it one way and then we kind of lost it this way. So I'm gonna step back here and I'm gonna tap him. And so instead of pulling his nose to me as the first response, I'm gonna make it uncomfortable for him to be looking away from me. And so one of the things I think you could do is you could increase his attention span. And so the theory is that if he sees you as the leader and you're expecting to be the leader for him, mm-hmm. he's gonna be less likely to find something to be bothered by. Okay. Because he's more connected with you. So his attention is on you versus him looking for something to be afraid of or to spook at or mm-hmm. something like that. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so I would highly recommend this is the first place you start with him. All right, so you can see how he's a little more connected with me now? Mm-hmm. And so to me, that's about where that's gonna get today, but that's something that you don't just fix at one time. It's an expectation that you have of them throughout the whole session, and you start with that. Okay. I always start with asking them to hook onto me and just have a connection to what I'm doing. If you've got a horse, you've already understood that horsemanship is more of a journey than a destination. There's a lot of problems that can come up, and it's really helpful to have a guide on that journey. If you'd like, I would like to help be your guide, and I can do that through my Patreon page. We have tons of videos on there that you can watch and follow the right sequence. You can also message me and ask me questions and even do video coaching. Not to mention we do monthly giveaways, and this month we're actually giving away a whole saddle. And what do you have to do to be entered to give away? All you have to do is be a member on Patreon and submit a video of the challenge of the month, which is a really fun challenge this month. So get on there and check it out. I'll leave the link in the description below. Let's get back to the video. From here, I want to start playing with the 3-circle game that I was suggesting to you. So when you had him circle you, he was in a defensive position. And these again these are some basic horsemanship things. So see how his ribs and hip are towards me mm-hmm. and his nose is away? That is a defensive posture that all horses take when they first learn to circle. Okay. Every horse comes out of the box doing that. And so if to whatever extent somebody's horse does not do that, they've trained them to be connected with the human as they're going around the circle and they're kind of asking a question. So mm-hmm. what happens is think of it like when he's looking around doing his own thing and he's circling around you with a counter bend, he's not paying attention to me if I'm walking around, he's looking over there and there. That's all him using more of his instinctual side of his brain, more of his right side, okay? To whatever degree he's paying attention to me and he's circling with an intention of staying hooked onto the person, mm-hmm. this is now leveraging the left side of his brain, and it's like a muscle. The more you flex the muscle, the stronger that muscle gets. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you want to use that more and more and more. That's the goal. So anything that we can do to cause him to use that side of his brain and spend more time there, the more you're going to have the horse that you want to have hooked up to a cart. Okay? Because that side, the left side is where he's going to be relaxed, where he's going to be calm, where he's going to be thoughtful about whatever yields you're asking him for while mm-hmm. you're driving him or doing anything else. Mm-hmm. Okay? So I'm going to ask him to circle again here. And this time when he takes that counter bend, like right there, I'm going to add pressure to his rib cage. Now with this hand, I just set this hand here and he ended up turning and facing me like that. So it's almost like more of a forward version of what I just did with the hindquarter yield, having him face me. Because I'm mm-hmm. asking him to circle me while staying hooked onto me at the same time. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I like that. You see that? Mm-hmm. That's a different position. Oh, I want to fix that up a little bit. There we go.
Yeah.
There. So do you see how he held that much longer, much better? We'll take that. But this is going to make a big difference for you and him, just those two exercises that we just did. Steady pressure is kind of you identified that as the challenging spot. And that's really good because for me, most horses that I work with, that is where the biggest holes are, steady pressure. I believe getting a horse comfortable with steady pressure, understanding it, and not being afraid of it are probably the most important things we're ever going to do with a horse. So I take a lot of stock in how I teach it to him and what depth I teach it to him and different ways I teach it to him. So one of the things I would recommend with him is getting him just a little bit better. Like, see how he's got a little brace there to the back up? He kind of pushes into that a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage you to just practice the head down and backing up with the halter a bit more.
Okay.
It's not bad, but it could be a little better. So when you're applying steady pressure, it's critical that it's a hold and not a pull. Let me give you an example here. So go ahead and take this lead rope. So you're the horse and I'm the human, and I'm going to ask you to come towards me here. Now go ahead and give in. And you see how I keep taking it? That's going to make you more dull.
Okay.
I'm going to teach you to wear the pressure if I do that.
Yeah.
So the way we want to apply steady pressure is like this. And give into it when you're ready. See how it was immediately slack? I didn't pull it more. We got to have that feel with our reins and our legs, and it's very easy to keep taking it once they give. So what I do for this head down is I bend my torso instead of like using my arm like this, because if I have my arm bent and he gives, I'm apt to want to like keep straightening my arm out.
Okay.
And so I try to just establish like a fixed position. When he was on the circle, I tried to fix my lead rope at my hip. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. We're gonna ask him to get a little more comfortable with steady pressure.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put it around his hindquarters, and we'll see how he handles that. Because of the harness stuff, he's used to wearing this. This is where you start of just can they wear it and be okay with it. But then to build depth, what I'm doing to add depth is I'm pulling on the rope, and you can see that bothered him. So once there was a little bit of pressure there, that bothered him a little bit more. Now, I'm not asking him to yield to it, I'm asking him to wear it. So I'm asking him to walk calmly, strongly, with just that feel of pressure on it. Some horses that are very heavy and leaning and they're not gonna be a driving horse, I would teach them maybe to give to it and step off of it and then I would release. I'm not trying to do that with him. I want him to wear it and be okay with it. Well, let's go ahead and go for the rib cage now. Yeah, you can see there's that spot. Now all he's got to do is walk and get okay with that. And I'm not going to release the pressure until he walks normal. So I'm just trying to be consistent with it. And what's interesting too is forward is the opposite of sucking back like that. His response to that pressure was to suck back and go up. So getting him to move forward and trot out of it is actually a pretty important thing. So if I could get him to do that and trot out of it, I would take that over just walking with it. We could even start at a trot, pick up a feel, and just ask him to wear it. And again, the good news is this makes the harness look real easy. Super. Yeah, he's very coachable. He does try very hard.
He does.
To me, any training that we're gonna do with them should be secondary to some taming. This, to me, is actually not even like basic horsemanship. To me, we're actually asking him to get more tame here. We can get him more gentle by doing these things.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Another way to say it is foundation before specialization. So now we're gonna put it on a hind leg. And again, I'm just gonna ask him to wear it at first. That's really good that he's okay with it. Now I want to put a little feel on it. That's great. That's a really good response. This could save a horse's life someday if they ever got their foot hung up in something. You know, in a hay net or in a feeder or in a fence line or something, a rope on the ground. Oh, so there we got a little reaction. So again, even though this isn't the harness, he's going to learn that reacting and fighting it is not where the relief is. He's being dramatic now.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is give to it right there. So what he just learned is panicking and fighting his way out of something does not equal relief. Calming down, standing, relaxing, that equaled relief. So for me, this is what I call a simulated got to. He felt like something had a hold of him there that he needed to save himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty deep level of conversation there.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth was it was just in my hand and I could let it go at any second. You know, it's not really a got to. I'm not really locked down. I don't have gloves on. I'm not putting any sort of strength behind this. I'm just holding it up in the air like that. And that's what will help him get really comfortable with understanding these things. So that was the biggest training moment of this session.
Okay.
There was the most depth built right there. Let's see what his response is this time. A little different, right? So yeah, he's very coachable.
Okay.
Good boy. Let's try it one more to make sure it wasn't coincidence. Oh, did you see that? Did you see him put the brakes on? Perfect. And these are exercises. These are all get-tos. And so this is why these are all prep steps for driving or for riding or whatever it is we're gonna do with the horse. Because these are all things that don't really matter. If I could mess all this up terribly and it wouldn't affect the driving that much because I'm not driving.
Yeah.
If we start driving them and horse isn't prepared and something goes south, it is now a direct problem with the thing you were wanting them to be good at. So what I try to do is set up exercises that will lend themselves to helping the horse be better at the goal, whatever the maneuver is that we're actually gonna do. The driving is the maneuver. And that's the point of it. Is that helpful?
That was helpful, yes.
All right. Thanks for coming out today.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was fun. Cool little pony. And he's not gonna be perfect at it because he's sensitive. But the sensitivity is nice too because it doesn't take a lot of pressure to motivate him. And I do not think in any way it's too much for him. But I really believe he's fully capable of handling it and being okay and eventually having fun with the driving.